Hi, I'm Lindsay. See Rollick, the number one.
Who let the dogs out? 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 Who let the dogs out?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's Friday, and that means it's time for OC Raw Talk. This is episode number 8. Now, today, I've got a very special guest who's coming on the show, and she is just a valuable wealth of knowledge. So if you really have the opportunity to sit down and listen to the entire interview with her, her name is Chelsea Kent. She comes to us from Heroes Pets in Littleton, Colorado, and she's going to talk to us about, a lot of us aren't aware how toxic over-the-counter pet foods are. We're talking kibble, dried food, and the food processing methods that they use. She's going to talk specifically about the benefits of the raw dog diet, how raw dog is far superior to other foods that you can buy on the market, and she's also going to bring up the great topic that we talked a little bit about last week with Boofies, having the discussion about rotating the proteins so that your dogs get that wide variety of amino acid balance. It's just a great interview, and she does a great job. So we're going to pause for commercial break, and we'll be right back with Chelsea Kent from Heroes Pets.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to OC Raw Talk, episode number 8, and very excited to have a very knowledgeable guest on. We're going to cover a wide variety of topics today that are very important to your dog's health and diet. So joining me from Heroes Pets in Littleton, Colorado, is Chelsea Kent. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, can we talk a little bit about Heroes? Can you tell us about Heroes Pets, the store, and primarily what you cater to, what your specialties are, please?
Yeah, we are located in Littleton, Colorado. We've been there almost 8 years in April. We specialize in nutritional consultations, holistic nutrition. We do a lot of herbs and homeopathics, flower essences, essential oils. We sell primarily raw and dehydrated raw foods, so more than anything we specialize in customer education.
Well, I think what's really important is what you just keyed on when you say customer education, because as I've been doing this, I'm trying to educate myself more and more in understanding the raw diet and what's important about it. With Heroes, you're able to have a customer come in, they can talk to you about what they're looking for and maybe even some health issues with their dog, and obviously you're able to work with them and make a recommendation. And again, it's just a recommendation. It's not a medical prescription or anything, but based on your experience and your vast knowledge of the topic of dog diets, you're able to help these customers get their pets healthy. How does that feel? How does it feel to know that you've helped people out like that?
Well, it's really awesome considering that the majority of our business is actually referral-based, and so quite a few of the customers that we have that come in on a daily basis are people that were referred because their animal is on death's door and they've been to 10 different veterinarians and their pet has just gotten worse and worse, and then they come in and they change the diet and maybe get a couple of herbs or homeopathics, and it's 1/100th of the cost of going to the vet, and their pet is better in a matter of a couple days to a couple months.
Well, that's just fantastic. And I mean, what I really like is you're very knowledgeable. It's very obvious that you're very well versed and educated in looking at a lot of the different diets for a dog. Can you tell us just specifically, what are the biggest benefits of a raw dog diet?
Well, there are a lot of them. The ones that I think are the most important are, first off, that a dog has virtually no cecum and a cat has no no cecum at all. And the cecum in the intestinal tract is actually for breaking down starches.
Okay.
And that means that they have no biological need for starches. And kibble has to have a pretty high level of starch. Even if it's grain-free, if it doesn't have a starch, then it just falls apart and turns into a powder when they cook it. So that's just passing straight through your pet from one end to the other. So they're not actually getting any nutrition out of that, and it's just really taxing on their system. The other things that I think are really important are that if you heat a protein, it creates heterocyclic amines, and if you heat a starch, it creates acrylamides. So both of those things are carcinogens. So carcinogens obviously can be tolerated by the body to some degree, but if you're giving that with every single meal, every single day, obviously, eventually you're going to cause some kind of condition, whether it be as severe as cancer, or in some cases it's not that severe, it's just problems with the liver, the kidneys, or the filtering organs that have to try and get rid of that stuff.
Wow. So in dealing with, as you said, talking about the kibble diet and the fact that the dogs and cats can't break down the starches, a lot of people don't realize, and again, in educating myself and learning about this, is the tremendous high levels of corn and grain that are in a lot of those kibble products. And with a raw dog diet, you don't see that at all, correct?
That's correct, and not just corn and grain, but even if you take white potatoes. White potatoes are a really popular binder in grain-free foods, but white potato is also really high in solanine, which is inflammatory, and many of them are genetically modified, and some are actually even classified as a pesticide.
Wow, that's incredible information to take in when you think about what you're feeding your pet and realizing the toxicity of that food that you can use. I've been learning a little bit about HPP. Can you explain to our viewers what HPP is and how it affects food when that processing method is used, please?
Yeah, HPP stands for high pressure pasteurization. So pasteurization is something that we're all really familiar with dairy products. But research actually shows that you will increase bacteria levels when you do pasteurization, just because you're also killing off all of the good bacteria when you do it. So that leaves no good guys, basically, to prevent the over-proliferation of bad guys and pathogens at, hours or days or weeks after the pasteurization is done. So you might have a really clean product at the moment that they're done doing the pasteurization, but long term it's actually even more dangerous. Not to mention the way that they do it is they actually pack the meat into plastic casing, and then they shoot it with 80,000 psi of water. That's pressure per square inch.
Now wait a minute. Hold, Chelsea. Let me just. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but in college, in taking physics and science, did you say 80,000 psi?
I did.
Steel bends at what, 30,000 psi?
Yeah, 30,000. And the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean is only 17,000.
17,000 psi, and they're bombarding it with 80,000 psi.
Yeah, so it's extremely high. So obviously that's pretty damaging to the molecular structure of the meat.
Right.
But even worse than that is that there's no way for that to not push some plastic contaminants from that casing into the food. So plastic contaminants are endocrine inhibitors, so they will disrupt anything within the endocrine system, which can mean that giving it long term, especially at every single meal, can cause everything from pancreatitis to diabetes to thyroid imbalances to reproductive problems to problems that you could never even diagnose in a pet, like problems with the parathyroid and the hypothalamus. Anything in the endocrine system can be disrupted. And most of the really popular brands that are out there do the high pressure pasteurization.
Wow, for me, this has been really educational to learn about this. Can you tell us why you carry OC Raw Dog in your store, and particularly what proteins do you recommend to our viewers, or what proteins have you found maybe show beneficial results in a dog's diet?
Okay. One of the primary reasons that we carry OC Raw, of course, is because you guys don't do HPP, quality, which
Correct.
is really important to us. And anybody that we do carry that ever does start to do that, we get rid of them. So we really like that your business understands HPP and is not willing to go that route. We also really like that OC Raw has a lot of different flavors because
Right.
we really strongly recommend rotation. And then a lot of different sizes. So convenience is a really big factor, especially when people are switching off of kibble. They don't want to have to make a mess of their kitchen and put a lot of thought and time into it. They just want it to be simple. So OC Raw makes the sliders, they make the meaty rocks, they make the patties. There's small sizes and large sizes of those different things. So there's a lot of convenience options, even for pets that have allergies, which is a really common thing. A lot of times people end up going on to a raw diet because their pet has some specific health issue and they don't really even have an option of doing a kibble anymore. So they're already feeling like it's going to be more inconvenient. So having something that's convenient in like rabbit, goat, lamb, fish, the more hypoallergenic proteins is a really nice option for them.
Well, I want to obviously thank you for your time. I know you were very busy, and it's great for you to join us. Just quick to wrap this up, what is the biggest benefit of rotating the proteins in a dog's diet? From your standpoint, and like I said, you're very knowledgeable with this, we have 8 different proteins, and the biggest advantage, if I'm new to a raw dog diet, what is the biggest advantage for me to keep rotating those proteins continuously?
Well, if you were to take the amino acid profile of a chicken and
Correct.
compare it to the amino acid profile of a cow, you would see that they're really different. So if you're only ever feeding one protein, then at some point, most animals basically develop a toxicity of some amino acids and deficiencies in others because you're not doing the rotation. So rotation allows them to kind of cover all of the bases and go through highs and lows of certain amino acids, which overall helps a lot with long-term health. A lot of people that do rotation will choose to do, like, go through one bag of one flavor and then switch to another bag, or they'll go through a month of one flavor and then switch to another flavor. I personally rotate every meal, and
Okay.
I have a boxer, and they have very, very, very sensitive stomach. She's 14 years old, and they usually live to 9, and she has no health problems and does really well on that. So once they're used to rotation, they do really well with it. A lot of people are concerned that it'll make their stomach upset because that's what vets have told them, but people have to remember that if the only thing that you ever ate was Cascadian Farms breakfast cereal, and then you went out and had Mexican food, like, of course your stomach would get upset. So
Absolutely.
you just have to work them into it.
Oh, that's great. First of all, I want to thank you because obviously your vast knowledge and experience has been really helpful to our viewers and people who are new with pets. I mean, it's amazing to find out so much of this information that's available and out there. Can you tell us just a little bit more? If somebody wanted to check out Heroes Pets, go to your website, or even send an email, maybe with some questions. Where can they go, and how can they do that, please?
Well, our website is heroespets.com, and we also have a really good Facebook page. It's facebook.com/heroes.pet, and it's HEROSPETS. On our website, we also have an online consultation button or even a profile form. If you have something that's really extensive that's going to need a lot of background history, you can fill out the profile form for us, or you can just send an email to info@heroespets.com.
Okay. So you can send that email to info@heroespets.com. Obviously, I can tell you this, Heroes Pets is going to be our store of the week here at OC Raw Dog next week. So if you go to our Facebook page, we'll have their link up to their website and the link to their Facebook page so you can find out more about this. And again, Chelsea, thank you so much. Just a tremendous amount of wealth and valuable knowledge that people can just learn from this to better educate themselves to make sure that their dogs are receiving the best nutrition available out there. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to use this opportunity to pause for commercial break. It's Friday, and you know that's Product Feature Friday. So we're going to come back from the commercial with our featured product here at OC Raw Dog. We'll be right back. Well, it's Friday, and that means Product Feature Friday. And today we're going to talk about OC Raw Dog Fish and Produce. Now, what I've selected from the back in the freezer are the easy-to-handle patties, which again, when OC Raw Dog, when you buy the bag of patties, normally it's 12. We give you the bonus patties, so you get 13 in the bag. And that's true with all of our patties, no matter what protein you pick in the patty selection. Now, with fish and produce, I think one of the greatest things to talk about is that the way that it's set up and how it's produced and manufactured with the patty, again, is as you see, it's very similar to the Hamburg patty. It's frozen, comes in, it can be taken as a frozen treat, or it can be thawed for your pet, and your pet can enjoy it. And as we talked about today in the interview with Chelsea, it's great to rotate those proteins. So one week you may have fish and produce, you can switch to beef and produce. But the big thing with fish, and what's very important here, is that this is great if your dog has allergies. Fish is one of those great foods that if your dog is having some stomach issues, suffering maybe some from minor allergies, by changing and trying the fish diet, a lot of people have said they've seen those things clear up. So it's great with fish, and the best thing about this is the protein level. It's got 18% of crude protein, 3% is crude fat, 2% is crude fiber, and then obviously moisture, and putting everything together, including the vegetables and produce that are added to this, get it up to 73%. So what's amazing here is that with this diet here, and what you can do again is that pollock fish fillet is used in the making of this, along with sardines. So your dog gets that very variety type of a taste, which they enjoy. And then, of course, you know, carrots, apples, green beans, blueberries, they all go into the processing of this. Cranberries, parsley, beets, papaya, honey, cod liver oil, which is an important fatty acid with the omega-3 in it, and calcium carbonate. So in putting this together, again, and talking about our Friday product feature, as we talked about a little bit with Chelsea, one of the great things about trying the OC Raw Dog Fish and Produce is, again, if your pet is suffering from those minor allergies, if you think they have a sensitive stomach, try them with the fish and see how much they like it. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of OC Raw Talk number 8. We will see you next Friday again. Have a great weekend.
The dogs out.